Alright, next map. We just did the secret level of Spectrum Descent, which arguably I didn't uvmax it because you could get all the monsters. It is possible. And, he didn't spawn in for me. It is what it is. But now it is time for map 10. And as you can see, this was my 66th attempt for the map. This is where it gets tough. This is where it really gets difficult. Like I was talking about for that secret level, I just didn't feel like the difficulty was really there. Meanwhile, this thing, 66 tries, I think that's around the healthy range for the map wants to be difficult, but not completely impossible. And a lot of my deaths were admittingly to this first area. I mean, it's a tight space, right? You got a lot of imps, you gotta hold off the imps while dealing with cruisers. They aren't full, Cyber Demon rocket bruisers, but they do deal lots of damage. And there's one over here. We got two secrets. Do I remember both of them? One of them is in this area, which took me an embarrassingly long time to find, by the way. Even with the editor. Even though the secret's not that hard to locate. And there's an extra soul sphere later on. So this was really the first, really tough map that I'd played after that big break I took after beating OSP2. Yeah, that was a gettable secret. It's just the angle made it hard to see. I was considering saving this part for after the VFG, but getting an early rocket launcher is really hard to turn down. Especially when you get all these extra rockets. And I gotta say, this shape of hallway feels really good for fighting revenants. It's really interesting watching this, knowing it's gonna win. Because I'm getting clobbered here. This is like my worst attempt where I survived. I mean, I suppose it's the only attempt where I survive. But what I mean is that in these first two rooms, obviously I beat the first two rooms numerous times. And sometimes I did it without taking much damage at all. And here I am using a soul sphere to heal, rather than a soul sphere to overheal. Because I'm just that desperate. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good stuff you can do with the Revenants here. And I just played it too passively. I have to be a little more forward so that they do attacks more frequently, thereby preventing them from running at me as much. But I didn't do that. Here we get an Archvile. Notice how I try to stay close to bait his attack so it's easier to hit him. And there's another Archvile down there who, all things considered, isn't that much of a threat. Now, mind you, this is meant to be beatable with the Super Shotgun only, because the rocket launcher is in that secret, right? Now, I'm gonna say, in terms of raw damage numbers, how could you beat this fight with dealing the fewest damage, i.e. saving the most ammo? Well, that's killing the Vile quickly with rockets. But rockets are hard to come by. Shells, not so much. So it's okay to be a little bit inefficient with shells. Because a lot of times the restrictions on your ammo aren't about how much damage you can do for the whole map. Instead, they're about saving your high damage weapons for when you really need it. You're not going to run out of damage at all. If I remember right, there are two vials here, which is why I'm taking it slow. Yep. Alright. This room has, I think, two pain elementals. or maybe 2 Archviles. It's got 2 of something, I think. And I remember my strategy was just be aggressive. I really like how I did this. I know I took a million damage, but I still like the strategy of... Oh, there is a pin on that goal. Because when it comes down to it, the Archvile's gotta go. And it's way better to bait the attack early when you can control the movement and get them to be still, so then A, they're slowing down, they're not pushing you back as much. B, you get to land some of your slow-moving rockets on them while they're standing still, doing their magic attack. And C, since they just did an attack, they're less likely to do an attack for a little while. Alright. So this area... Okay. On the other side, Archviles. So that area is kind of blocked off unless I have 6-7 seconds alone shooting at them. So I'm really locked in this area. And there are bruisers on both of the pillars. So I really can't stop moving at any point. I think other stuff opens up when I... Yeah, when I take the plasma rifle, an Archvile is going to spawn. So I'd rather not take the plasma rifle until I'm free to do so. Obviously, if I have to, I have to. But it is what it is, right? Now, so much of this room comes down to getting a good infight between the Cyber. Really nice takedown of these files. They're much less aggro when they're on pillars. A lot of this room comes down to getting a good Revenant Cyber Demon fight, which happened. This is a really nice Revenant and Cyber Demon fight. They all died away from the Archvile, just really nice stuff. The maximum control environment is, of course, killing everything and then taking the plasma to deal with the vial. Obviously, if you don't, if you gotta do what you gotta do. And maybe that means taking the plasma early, dealing with the vial, and then killing everything with plasma. Now, let's see if, because I was able to beat this fight without using plasma, if I actually respect the fact that I'm gonna have more plasma and use cells. Oh my god, I never remember to use cells every time I watch one of my commentary things. Or I guess I'm making a commentary, watching a demo. I'm like, use cells, use plasma, use it, use the gun, it's good, you have enough ammo. And then I barely use it. Because I'm always thinking, oh, I could save this for the BFG later, it's more efficient. No, use it. Also, you saw some MBF-21 behavior with the super shotgun just being put away without reloading when I ran out of ammo. I say I do appreciate the MBF-21 stuff. Basically, it removed the bad parts about Boom, which was enemies falling over ledges. It's just too annoying that map makers have to deal with that. And the super shotgun thing. That's really it. What a weird looking ammo tree I had there. This brings me back to, I think it was map 3 of Fractured Worlds, where we had a similar situation with ambush flag revs, and I was just taking them on one at a time. Nirvana watched me do it, and he said, yeah, it's okay. He approved, okay? Or at the very least, he didn't say, yeah, I'm gonna retroactively update my VOD, so you can't do that. Alright, we got a big, multi-layered battle here. Which, all things considered, I didn't die on as much as you think. Manx are such a good example of, like, combat priority. Because they're so... Oh, I got lucky there. I barely took any damage, but I got smacked by a million projectiles. So yeah, there are revs up there, and I have my back to the wall so that enemies curl up at the other side of the wall, you know what I mean? And those revs can't hit me because they just don't attack if you're at a particular distance. Now let's see how I fare against the Hellknights. Let's see if I actually deal with them safely. I don't remember if this was a good Hell Knight encounter or not. Rockets are really good against Revenants. It's not just because they have the right amount of health for a rocket to kill them in 2 hits every time, but also they're small, so that means you can have multiple grouped up, and you're going to get most of the damage. You ever notice Arachnotron's not dying to 3 rockets like they should? I think that happens because the rocket hits them and they're so wide that they're not taking the full blast damage the way that, say, a Hell Knight or a Revenant usually will. Yeah, I chose against picking up that SSG just so I could save the chain gun ammo. There's some pressable here. I gotta be honest, I don't know how you're supposed to figure this one out. Stay close, bait out the attack, block them in, block them in. Ooh, interesting choice. I think I stand by that. I stand by that decision because, you know what? 40 overhill at the right time means a lot, right? We're talking about how efficiency doesn't mean everything. So we've got a Pain Elemental and a Vial on either side. We're going to do our best. Oh no! Oh no! Okay. The strategy for this is kill them with the plasma. And then hang out upstairs, let these guys infight, slowly kill the Pain Elementals, and then drop down to kill the Cyber Demon when he's alone. But now I got blasted off the roof. What's gonna happen? Oh no. See, I had only practiced the thing I just described. I had never done it normally. So I'm sitting here like, no, they're gonna revive the Revenants. I didn't even think of that. I'm gonna run out of ammo, I'm gonna run out of rockets, I'm gonna get zapped by everything because I'm on the ground. That happened and I had 2 health. Wow. Do you see how lucky I just got there? I got hit by a 3 damage lost soul. I'm telling you, I just dodged the 24 damage lost soul, and then I got hit by the 3 damage lost soul. Went from 37 to 34. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. I mean, I did survive, but considering how battered I got, and that I had 200 going in, I still think, even though this was the first time I tried it this way, that the normal strat I do is better. But I was forced into doing this, because I got blasted off the roof. Now, even though, yeah, right, that's why I'm so worried. It's one Cyber Demon, but he's got the vertical. Most of the time, enemies having a little bit of height isn't that big of a deal. They're 2 things that make it really rough when they do. At least this type of height. Obviously, there's infinite height stuff where it's like you just get smacked into them. You can't deal with it. Or they're too high and you can't shoot them at all. But this is rough because it's a Cyber Demon. He's got blast damage. And blast damage is when he shoots the ground. Normally he doesn't shoot the ground on purpose. He's not a Doom 64 Cyber. And it's hard to hit him because his shotgun has vertical spread. Or the super shotgun does. Oh my god. We really got out of that one, didn't we? I didn't even want to look around to see if there were other medikits. I'm like, give me the soul sphere right now. Oh yeah, I was shaking my head at that. Like I freaked out and I'm like, I need it right now. But I didn't. I should have taken these medikits and then I would have had 200 going into this fight. Alright, so we have some monster blocking, or sound blocking line deaths rather, at the end of this lift. I honestly don't know why. Maybe that's a mapping thing to prevent them from waking up right away. Whatever the case, it means you can kill these pain elementals without waking anything up. Which is good, because pain elementals, oh boy, do they ruin infighting. Pain elementals, like archviles, let's separate these. Pain elementals, you do not want them to infight, because then everything gets clogged up. Maybe if you have a lot of space, they can safely infight a cyber. But we don't have a lot of space here, right? So I think you see what we're going to do here. Just slowly get the cyber to kill everything for us. Now, if all goes really, really well, I can actually go up near those revs, grab the BFG, without them even noticing me. And then I just have the BFG. But most realistic is we kill the revs first with rockets and the cyber. So yeah, you want to get those pain elementals out of there fast. Because this is really an infighting room. 34 rockets isn't really enough to be killing this many enemies. And if you are fighting, then everything's waking up. And, well, these revenants have a height advantage. And they're on the outskirts rather than you running around. So this is not a place you want to hang out. Oh yeah, look at that. So this area I did have difficulty and I took a lot of deaths here. What it came down to a lot of time, that was a nice dodge. What it comes down to a lot of the time was failing to kill the pain elementals smoothly, and then it just gets out of hand. I know the cyber isn't going to have a lot of health left, but I'd rather the cyber get killed from them, so I can get the drop on the revenants. You could argue that I'm being a little too passive here, but I'm playing it out. And this whole strategy of letting them infight just would not work at all if I had a billion pain elementals. Well, 3. And it's only possible because we have that upgraded chain gun in this, right? Please use the BFG. Oh no, please, please, do not use the super shotgun. Come on, past me. Ugh. Why would I do that? Yeah, just reminder, you don't have to look where the BFG tracers are pointing. What the? What? Was that intended? Okay, whatever. We're gonna leave here with 600 cells anyway. It doesn't make a difference. This is not a map where you're gonna run out of cells. It's a map where you might not have enough room for cells in this fight. All right. We got pain elementals. We got bruisers. Look at that! Look at that movement. See, I'm not doing any like instantaneous dodges there, but I'm doing the classic horseshoe, right? And the horseshoe is not symmetrical. You go slowly to the side, and hopefully, if you can, maybe you can't do it all the time, but hopefully, you're going forwards a bit as you go to the side. And then when you get to the end, or just before you get to the end, you pull back and do your turnaround quickly. Maybe what I'm describing right now is a figure 8 and not a horseshoe. I guess I am describing a figure 8. Alright. Now this is the other part where, you know, I took a lot of deaths. A lot of cybers, and there are also vials in the corners there. So my rule is to assume that the Archviles will always target you if they can. And in that case, they did. And I got lucky that only 2 of them hit me, and not all of them. And there's me trying to avoid all the vials hitting me, and instead I get hit by a vial and the cyber. So now I've eaten up literally all of my megaspheres. So this is it. Really something just how close all of these fights are. I don't know if I've really talked about this, but I've probably mentioned it. If you're circle strafing, you shoot the BFG in the opposite direction. Because, like, imagine you shoot a little bit to the left, and then you circle strafe to the right. Now that leftward movement is where all the enemies are. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. What a battle. What a battle. I have tried killing all the vials with like 4 or 5 BFG shots. I don't think it's that realistic. I think you could pull it off, and maybe there's like an in-between, you could get a couple down and then back out, but I didn't find it consistent enough. I found it more consistent to just do the fight. Alright, I'll speed up this. The map does have full backtracking with those teleporters that I passed by, so just if you're worried about that, it's there. Wow, what a map. Yeah, I really think that's kind of the optimal length and difficulty if you're going for a hard map. As much as I like No SB2, a lot of those go a little bit too far. What was it, like thousands of attempts for one of those? Alright. Anyway, that is all for now. I was going to do a judgment one, but my throat kind of hurts. I probably will, though. We'll see.